Right then. Thank you very much for popping in. It's really a pleasure having you. I will be waxing lyrical slash ranting about the illustration that you see playing next to me here. This was a one-shot live stream, which is pretty cool. And it is the redesign phase of my Digitoba character number 5, I think. I'm not even 100% sure. She is super duper weird. But I think this turned out really nicely. The sketch technique that I'm working with at the moment is, if you look carefully, the brush pressure is at 25%. And then I bring the brush sizes up and down as I go along. And I'm also doing a smudge pass between every detail pass, or most of them at least. And it creates a really painterly effect. Oh yeah, see there? Copy the ear and copy the ear. Doesn't really look the same at the end, but never mind that. I think this live stream, this video, this illustration was quite successful because my style is, or at least my workflow is starting to streamline a lot more. I feel as if I'm gaining a lot of confidence and a lot of unconscious competence. There are things that I'm doing now unconsciously that are happening, which is the byproduct of consistent training, is that unconscious competence, that manifestation, the ability to breathe something out on a piece of paper or surface or whatever. Yeah, okay. Thirsty much? That was big. Okay. Yeah. So one of my mistakes, one of the things that I constantly do, which I can thankfully correct um, quite easily, is my head proportions. They're always too small. Um, it's either that or I always just go back a little too far. But once again, I'm also gaining a lot of confidence with the liquify tool. If you work with it long enough, you can do amazing manipulation after the fact. You know, the technique can be great and everything could be really cool and the proportion could be slightly off. But if you have um, practiced working with a liquify tool on a regular basis, you can essentially um, render any problem like that moot. Like you'll just be able to push it in the right place and it'll be in the right place. It'll get that, wow, look. Um, and ooh, leg anatomy. Yeah. Some people say you should learn where the muscles are and the names of the muscles, and I think that's probably sound advice. Um, you, but it's also a lot of PT, a lot of work if you want to learn all of the muscles specifically. You kind of, one thing that I want you also to look at is the way joints connect. See there, the way the joints connect with the ankle joints connect with the foot. That's a long foot there, buddy. Didn't work that well for me, but it did work well enough. But I'll probably go back there. And I think we've got our final product. Ah, yes. When you draw hands, structure them out. It's essentially one is half the other, is half the next, is half the next. So if you got your hand, that's going to be this is half of this, is half of this, is half of this. Um, sort of, in terms of bone length. And that's really useful to remember. Um, and then the hand is going to be half of the forearm, essentially. Roundabout. I might be off. Do your own research. Check it out for yourself. Like, don't just take my word for it. That finger is kind of off. But the hand is much, much too big. I always draw them with these gigantic hand monster mitts. Um, anyhow, and yeah, if you've got pixelization there, because you've made something much smaller and you've moved it around, that tends to happen. Just do a little pass with the smudge tool, and it'll be back to sort of a passable normal. Once again, this is nowhere nearly a final illustration. It is most definitely a design sketch. I'm probably going to look at redesigning a couple of the elements at the end of this image. I really do like the picture. Oh, the turnaround on this was magnificent. Really worked so quickly. Because you just pull color values and place them in the correct location, and all of a sudden she's no longer facing forward but facing to the back completely. I think I was silly in leaving the reference material so big. It kind of messed with the video quality. I might not do that again, and just have the reference sitting on the side. However, wow, juicy much. Yeah, that's a good back end. Uh, Grief. Anyway, so now we've turned her around and we can get started with our artwork. So if you look at the reference, there is this huge sort of structure behind her that, oh, thanks, garbage guys. We need them. They're great. There's this huge structure. So I've built it up and we're going to call it I don't know, the brute. So there's like two parts to her gear. The first part is the brute. Three parts, actually. Oh, yes, I did this. It's a new thing I did. I did this new thing where I do a full white layer and I do a slight background color. This helps me differentiate the picture a little bit more. It helps me see it more clearly. And of course, they both work as you turn them around. Yes. Now, what do we got? Okay, so we have the brute, and we are going to switch the brute, turn her layer off and do the brute. So we're gonna work with this is the workflow I used here. So what I would do is I did initial sketch, then a smudge pass with the same brush at the same size. Then dilute it, bring it down like 75% to 75%, and then smaller brush, same pass, detail, like a slightly more detailed pass. Once more, for those of you who are new, I go through the workflow every time on the video so you can really follow along and understand. Okay, throwing gang signs, dude. I don't know, those aren't gang signs. That's okay. Eh? Okay. Anyway. So essentially this is kind of like a biomechanical construct that behaves in a way as if to be like a bearer. It sort of carries her around, but the idea behind this character is that she's some type of wizard. Okay, so she would cast magical spells, and the fact that the brute is all hands and the hands are of different sizes has an effect on magical spells that she could cast, which I think would be a really interesting idea in terms of how it would look visually. So the poses would be fantastic. And she does also, the first illustration gave me like a Shiva vibe as well, like a goddess vibe. And I think I'll probably stick to that. but I do like that I've been able to give this a bit of a closer look regarding the design and the mechanics of the hands, and the way it's structured. Like, it's all much more interesting now than the first initial sketch. So got to do another rendering pass. Those weird face looking things. Those are like the connectors between her and the rest of the gear, or the brute and the rest of the gear that she's wearing, because she's got another significantly large part of gear. So she'd be, because she's got a whole octopus hairdo thing going on. You'll see that in a bit. And I stuck to octopus. There are 8 tentacles, I promise. So she's got 2 times 8. Because the brute is 4, her physical form is 4, and the tentacles are 8. And like, yeah. Um, I wonder what it would look like to see a character like this in full motion, um, perhaps traveling or running at speed, or simultaneously, or making a stand. Um, I think that's possibly going to be great. Well, okay, so it's like a cozy, but it's more like a body harness. And there's a big belt that's going around her as well. Um, the reference page has that short kimono style outfit on that demon. Um, and I really liked it, and I thought I would absolutely just steal the whole idea. So I've taken it, redesigned it, and worked with it a little bit, but kept it mostly the same. The um, costume, though, I think that worked out nicely. Um, and once again, I'm doing the white layer underneath it. So later on, you'll be able to see that actually it looks really cool, because you can switch between the layers, and it's like you're dressing up a dress-up doll. Making my own dress-up dolls. This is so cheeky. Oh, dog, please don't bark at me. Oh, she's so rude. Never mind. But this is what we got here. So kimono, sleeves, undergarment. Um, yeah. Once again, we're doing pass, 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 and then we'll put a white layer underneath it to define it, so that you can um, lose the detail underneath. Uh, yeah, but it's this project's been an absolute blast. I really, really enjoyed doing this. I think this character, though, is going to teach me a lot about textures, because we've got fabric texture that's got to be worked in. Um, we also have that sort of bioflesh texture on the brute, which I'm not sure where I'm going like with that. I think it would probably be a good idea to make the hide or skin like rubberized, um, as it's protective. What was I doing here? Oh, it's like 20 times speed, so it doesn't really matter. Mhm. And here we go. Like, the kimono is nicely realized. I think it's the first time I've drawn a kimono thing like this properly. Tried to, at least. Kimono thing, that's horrible. Sorry, any Japanese people. I hope I've not culturally offended you. But I don't think this is a very specifically traditional or authentic kimono. So kimono thing maybe, but never mind. So we got brute, kimono. Oh, I'm busy showing off to new viewers. I love the live streams. Like, it's kind of cool and kind of random, because I just put it up and I start working, and people come, people go, say nothing. And then when you get further on into the stream and the picture is a little bit more well developed, people come and say, "Oh, wow, that's nice. Ah, hi." Um, and closer to the end is where you get a lot more traction on it. But It's still bloody slow going. Grief. Let's see how my new style of video changes things. But never mind that. Okay, so now the kimono is also very much connected to her and the brute as part of her gear. Then yeah. Yeah, just getting fancy with the drop shadows there, bud. Okay, never mind. Oh, and there's that rope thing that goes around it. What is it called? I'm doing the visual research, but I'm doing none of the cultural research. How ghastly of me. Cancel him immediately. Whatever. Um, let's see. Uh, if anybody knows, you can leave a comment. That'd be very kind of you. But if you don't know, just have fun. Look at my drawings. It's cool. Okay, so there's a tassel, there's a twirl. I do want to have a slightly different element to it. So I've put like what could look like a braid in between the thicker cord. So it might not even be a cable, it might be something that just looks like the cable but functions differently. It could open up or um, you know, break apart. Who knows? The imagination is limitless and endless. You know, you could just think of whatever you want. So I've added a little bead in between the main parts there, so you can see that that I can build on later. And once again, I'm having lots of fun with this, but I'd love to either learn how to animate or hand it over to an animator. So you know any animators? Let me know. Or not animators, like a modeler, actually. Should find somebody. Say, hey, can you model this? There's some amazing YouTubers. Um, and perhaps one day I might be in their league. We improve every day. Okay, so we're drawing the giant fish face thing that looks like it's eating her head. You'll never unsee it, like ever. It seriously looks like it's like sucking the top of her head. Well, and that's kind of um, interesting in terms of how the anatomy of the character could or possibly would work. It's like, who's in control? Which set of eyes should you be looking at? Who is the who's the what's the major driving force behind this composite creature? Because it's not just her, it's the brute, and then this, which is essentially going to be a octopus tentacle monster that's attached to her head. So it's these three entities that work symbiotically and in unison. Um, what the what could something like this be thinking? Is it a singular consciousness? Is it one overruling consciousness? Does it speak in one voice or three? Can it have a conversation with itself? I'm disappointed about how the top of the head ended up. However, the tentacles did turn out to be quite well worth it. They really look quite cool, I think. But once again, this is just a design pose. There's nothing supposed to be dynamic about it. I wish I'd worked on a slightly larger canvas. There's also a slightly deco feel coming into it because of the symmetry. Perhaps I should put a little icon or thing behind it. I don't know. Anyhow, so once again, pass, 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 pass. I did this on two different layers so I could kind of see which tentacle I wanted to overlap which tentacle. I tried to put in a 9 and 10, 9 and 10 tentacles, but it's rather stick to 8. I don't know why I did that. That still looked cooler. Oh yes, it looks like an inverted scrotum in a sausage. So that's why I changed it a little bit. I think I'm probably going to have to change that whole top bit next time. Another time, another time. But it'll also look different when the tentacles are not just simply being displayed, because it's all about character display here. It's got actually nothing to do with any type of dynamic pose. And yeah, it's also building my skill. I'm really learning how to um, flesh out the characters nicely and quickly. So I'm quite satisfied with the overall outcome of this illustration, except for the top of the head. Top of the head. Is it the octopus's butt, or what have I done there? Why did I draw that? That's really weird, dude. What have you done? Like seriously, no. Anyway, I've got to fix that. I will later. I need to move forward. I've got to do the rear view of this picture today, and I'll carry on with that. Yeah. So, last detail, the suckers. So that's a good way to do it. While you are drawing your tentacles, you draw them out three-dimensionally so you can see the cylinder as clearly as possible. And then on top of the cylinder, you add the strip, because it works in the tentacles are on a strip, they're just on one side. And then you put in the little suckers. And once again, pass, pass, pass. We are not trying to do a perfect rendering. We are simply just getting the idea done, fully iterated, so that I have a well-developed reference set when I want to do a serious action pose. And that's going to be great, I think. But once again, it's a template for somebody to 3D model if they want to. Please contact me, or just do it. Show me. That's cheeky. This is that's a lot of work. Can you imagine going up to somebody? Hey, I've got this picture. Render it quickly. I'm another artist. No, I've got to be able to pay these people, I think. Never mind that. Yeah. So here we go. We're about done with that. And we can do a little show to show you guys how the layers go onto one another. I think it's kind of cute. It's cool. And I'm stoked. This is a good one. We did a great job here. So body in the cozy. There's the brute on its own. I wonder what I should do with a back view of it. That's got to be interesting. That's how she's positioned in front of the brute. Like it's holding her, it's supporting her weight fully, so she doesn't have to put her feet on the ground. That's why she's barefoot. There's a kimono, the belt, and last but not least, those tentacles. Right. She came out quite nicely. Please remember, like, share, and subscribe.